In this lesson, I hope we have seen the benefit of a quadratic being in vertex form. So for example, going back to this first example from the first video, looking at this quadratic here in vertex form, we can quickly look at this and see, hey, the vertex is the point -3, -5, because we're changing the sign on what we see on the inside of the parentheses with the x, since we know that that's going left, not right, that's going left. 3 to give us an x coordinate of -3, and then we see this y down here going down 5, so we know that the y coordinate of the vertex is -5. Also, looking at this in vertex form, we can see this minus sign right here, which we know is going to flip the graph over the x-axis, and so that lets us know that the parabola opens downward. So those are all benefits of the quadratic being in vertex form. Another benefit is that we can quickly find x-intercepts by just using the square root method to solve that equation. But so far, the only way that we know how to get to vertex form is through the process of completing the square, which can be a little tricky. So in the last example in this lesson, we're going to look at how can we put a quadratic in vertex form without completing the square. How can we just explicitly find the vertex if it's written like this and it's not in vertex form? Well, we have something called vertex formula. Remember, the vertex is a point. It is a x comma y point. So here they give us the formula for that point. This is an ordered pair. All of this right here, negative b over 2a, is the x coordinate of the vertex. The x coordinate of the vertex can be found from the formula negative b over 2a. Once we have the x coordinate of the vertex, we just need to plug the x value in to find the y coordinate. And it's as simple as that. So let's look at an example of that. And then we'll talk about how after we have those points that we can actually write vertex form. So we've talked about the formula that's going to give us the x coordinate of the vertex and then give us the y coordinate of the vertex. So let's talk about starting with finding the x coordinate. The formula says that the x coordinate is equal to negative b over 2a. Let's start plugging in. Looking at this quadratic here, we can see that a is -3, b is 48, and c is -165. So a negative b is going to give us a -48 divided by 2 times a, which is 2 times a -3. Be careful with your signs here because we do have two minus signs which will come together to give us a positive. This is essentially just 48 divided by 6, which is 8. So the x coordinate of our vertex is 8. So for the answer of our vertex, which is a point, the x coordinate of that point is 8. To find the y coordinate of the vertex, to find that y coordinate, we're just going to plug 8 into the function. Remember this from an earlier lesson, this is a function composition. All this means is plug in x equals 8. So I'm going to be looking at this function here, and I'm going to be replacing all of those x's with 8. In fact, I'll put these in the same color that 8 is in. So now that once we have plugged 8 into this function, what we get out will be the y coordinate of our vertex. And I'm getting out a positive 27. So now I know the y coordinate of this vertex is 27. So this vertex is at the point 827. So now let's talk about how we can use that vertex to actually write this quadratic in vertex form, which we know vertex form looks like a times x minus h squared plus k. We currently have it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, because I can see that a is -3, that b is 48, and that c is, well, -165. We want to know what is a, h, and k in order to fill this out. Well, A we already know. So we're trying to fill out this form here. Okay, this is what we want. A we already know, which is -3. So I can just put that. Okay, I just went ahead and built the rest of the skeleton. X stays, X is X, but we don't know, we need to know what H is. It says this X minus H. Well, H is just the X coordinate of the vertex, which we now know H is 8. So this is X minus 8 in here, which is good because we know that that -8 sends the graph right 8, and that's good because our x coordinate of the vertex is at a positive right 8. And then the last thing we need is plus k, and we know that k is 27. That is the y coordinate of the vertex. So now we have built the vertex form for this quadratic from using the vertex formula. So we can find the vertex and then work backwards to build the vertex form.